My name is Nicholas, or Nico for short. I'm a PhD student now stationed here at CERN. I'm originally from Frankfurt and I'm now based here for around 2 years or so, working with the Alice experiment. Right, so my usual day at CERN is very different depending on whether we're taking data at the moment or whether we're not taking data. Right now, for example, we're in a break, so 2 or 3 months break. So that means I'm down in the cavern quite a bit, replacing electronics or replacing broken front-end cards that broke over the last year or so. We still have around 2 or 3 more weeks for that. Once that is done, it switches completely and I'll go back to operations of the calorimeter that I'm working for and the analysis of the data itself. So when we basically don't have the chance to go down anymore, we are up here keeping the detector running and analyzing the data that we get from it. So that's really the full circle experimental physics from keeping the detector alive to presenting a paper. It started as a bachelor student in Frankfurt, and actually rather quickly I started bugging my supervisor to please let me go to CERN at least for 2 weeks or so. And then at some point I was sent down here to work on a detector, installing, I think it was 2,000 or so metal plates. But it meant that we got to be down here for 2 weeks and enjoy Geneva. So that's how I got hooked on the CERN idea. And then during my master's, I came down here for shifts quite often. And then I asked my supervisor whether I could please be here. And then we found this project with the EM-Cal, so the electromagnetic calorimeter. And there I then got more and more involved, first as an on-call, so basically the person that is called by the people in the control room. And then I started taking more responsibilities there, also by now leading the operations of the calorimeter. So that means by now I'm rarely the on-call myself. I basically have quite a few very talented on-calls that do the actual on-calls, and then I'm more or less now the on-call of the on-calls. So if they struggle late at night, they will call me. So I do that part of the operations while we take the data, and then while we don't take data itself, I'm going down and help replacing front-end cards. So the Alice experiment has a big magnet around it. We call it the L3 magnet. It's 16 meters tall, 16 meters wide. It's huge. It's heavier than the Eiffel Tower. It's a massive thing. And it has big doors that we can open and close. And we need them closed to have the magnetic field in the way that we want it while we take the data. But then when we really want to work on the detectors, like for example, take out major parts, we have to open these doors and then they will really swing open. It takes forever to open them, and then we can get to them. When the doors are open, it's still a very new feeling because you really stand in front of the whole experiment. You see all of the sub-detectors, you have then the stairs leading up to everything. It's magical. At the moment, they are closed, which is maybe even cooler because that means that to go down, there's a small hole. So there's a small hole of around this size that you have to climb through. So there's a small door that you can open. There's a key. There's a key to the Alice experiment that you can then turn and then open to get into the experiment. And it's not for people who are claustrophobic, that's for sure, but it is really cool to be in the experiment itself. So there's different security measures depending on where you want to go in the experiment. If you just want to go in the cavern itself, it's a lot easier. But then once you want to actually get into the magnet, you need at least 3 people. One who's the watcher, who's really just standing watch outside, making sure nothing happens, and who's the radio contact, because you really have a radio in there because you don't have cell reception in the magnet. And then you need 2 people inside, the usual rule, in case something happens so that the other person can call for help. And then depending on what you want to do in there, you need to wear a climbing harness. For example, the EM-Cal has quite a few parts that are up where you really have to climb up 4 meters or so. And then you don't want to fall, and you probably also don't want to fall on these detectors. There we need to wear a climbing harness when we really want to reach the top. So the EM-Cal is special in the sense that it is the only detector that is really made to measure neutral particles. Alice is great at measuring charged particles at high multiplicities and everything, but neutral particles will just fly through the time projection chamber without hitting anything. So the EM-Cal is basically our last resort. It's the very last level at which we just stop everything, right? It's a lead scintillator material. So it's a lot of lead that just is supposed to stop everything, and then a calorimeter, meaning it checks how much energy is deposited, how warm it gets, or in this case it's photons, and then we will just get the energy deposition in there. But the cool thing is that we are able to measure most of the particles that the other detectors cannot measure, and thereby basically complete the picture of what happened in the collision.